Ederson Oliveira here for DNN Hero. Today in our chat we have Joe Craig and Scott Wilkinson. Scott, how are you?
Good, how you doing?
Very good, Joe.
Doing great, Ederson. It's good to see you guys again.
Perfect. Okay, so it seems that we are all having a heat wave around here in North America, so we are enjoying middle of summer. Hope you guys are enjoying that as well. I want to start today with a rant, a complaint. I mean, you can word that the way you want, but I want to be talking about this type of thing that happens, you know. Do you guys know this old turtle? I hope that they show up their head again out of their, you know, because here's the thing. Here's what a lot of people complain about vendors in general. Is when they go MIA, when they go missing, when they disappear from the face of the earth, leaving their clients hanging there. And in a case like this, it's even more aggravating because their module is connecting and validating through their site, which is right now down. And I have in front of me a message that says, this domain has expired, oldturtle.net. So now there are a bunch of people out there using a module called Biz Suite, a CRM module, CRM and help desk, which are not working. Now the good thing is that I raised the question on the DNN Connect Facebook user group, and Sergey Viliko, I hope that I got your last name right, Sergey. He was very nicely, and he solved the problem. He solved the problem for himself. He had this problem, and he solved this problem for a friend of mine that is running that module as well. He pretty much went and did that reverse engineering thing, and he made a fix. He doesn't want to make it public. And sorry, Sergey, I'm just mentioning you are not making public the fix, but he doesn't want to make it public because he didn't get authorization from the original owner, the old turtle guy. Now he's right, and it's good that he is that careful of not releasing that live for everybody because he does not have authorization, but we cannot get a hold of the guy. Now, I mean, I'm gonna just mention his name based on some emails that I have exchanged with him a few years ago. His name is Dave Gallimbert. He's just nowhere to be found. Now, that's my rant about them. Hopefully this guy has not died. He may have, who knows? But that's the second part of my rant here. That's the second part of what I wanted to mention, is that nothing wrong with being one single operator, one single person operator. That's nothing wrong. A lot of vendors on the DNN ecosystem are single operators. They do the coding, they do the whole thing. But if they disappear, then we are left in a situation like this. Now, I would like to urge you to recommend that anyone that is a solo operator out there that works on the DNN ecosystem or any place else, have a strategy in place in case something happens to you, or in case you don't want to continue with the project for whatever reason, but have something in place. And I will just give you a quick recommendation, is just in case you die tomorrow, you are hit by a bus tomorrow, something happens to you, for your own benefit, for the benefit of your family, and for the benefit of your clients, have a plan in place that can carry on your code, your project, your module. It might be as simple as, hey honey, if something happens to me tomorrow, contact this person, and that person, and maybe sell the module, sell the source, sell the company to them. It might be reaching out to one of the vendors in the ecosystem preventively, proactively, and say, hey, Mandips, hey, Chad from Dead Spring, hey, whoever is out there that you respect and you think that could do a good job carrying on with your module. Hey guys, if something happens to me, my wife, my husband will reach out to you, and maybe you will be a candidate to acquire the code that I have, carry on with the project. But it's something so simple, just so simple like that, and you never know. We are all humans, we get old and things happen, and we never know. So have something like that in place that can be beneficial to your family as well, because they may get some money out of it, just some money out of it. It's better than having a site expiring and not doing anything with the work that you have done over the years. That's it. That's simple. Guys, Joe, Scott, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I went through an issue probably 3, maybe 4 years ago, where there was a very popular event manager module, and I was updating a site, and guess what? Updating the site required updating the module, and that's when I discovered that that module vendor had disappeared. So I was talking to someone late last week about acquiring modules, and his 0th question to me was, is the source code available? And it's gotten a little bit out of fashion, but 8-10 years ago, which I guess is prehistory, most module vendors had an option where you could purchase the source code for a larger sum of money. And maybe that's really not a practical solution, but some people tended to feel better that, if the worst happens, I've at least got the source code that I could take to somebody. I think the other approach that some people were taking was essentially putting their source code in escrow, and that'll bring me to my rant. That for people who are newcomers to the community, or people who are not necessarily sophisticated in the ways of the DN community, the real question is, how do you know who are trustworthy module vendors and who are not trustworthy module vendors? There's nothing on the store other than, they've been a member since 1900.
Yeah, but let me just make a quick note on that, Joe. I use a very simple criteria there, and I can even open one of the modules that I have in front of me. I use, I'm trying to open one of the old Turtle modules and it's not open. But bottom line is that there are two dates on the modules. One is the date that the vendor initially opened up store, and the other one is the date that module has been updated. So actually, let me just open one here very quickly. So you can use that as a reference and see, hey, this vendor, is an old vendor, an old timer here, but the module is not updated. Last time the module was updated was in 2014, 2011, 2012. That might be a teller that, hey, things are not getting up to date here with this module or with this skin. No, I have one in front of me right now. So you see two dates, active since and posted, by. So use that as a rough reference of whether or not they are still active. Now, it does mean that they will be active tomorrow, but it's a good indication that they are active now. So I'm hoping that they will still be active for a little bit longer here. That's what I use as a reference point.
Sure. You could. I've also got a list of people that I trust. And you can also go to their website. If there's a corporate website or if the vendor has a website, and scroll down to the bottom and see if there's a copyright date. Maybe it means they're at least smart enough to auto-update the copyright date to this year. And probably the other thing is if they're still calling the framework .NET Nuke, they're not paying attention. I've seen a lot of blog posts over the last couple of months where people who I didn't recognize are putting out, not blog posts, but tweeting that says, come and read my blog post, and when you go to their site and the first sentence of the post says, .NET Nuke is a well-known content management system, and some people even have the old .NET Nuke logo accompanying their blog post. That's a sign to me that I wouldn't say don't distrust these people, but if they're not paying enough attention to what they're doing to at least get the name right, that's something to think about.
And I'll add one more there. I'll add one more, which may talk a little bit more about the professionalism of some of those vendors. Even if you are one person operation, don't use a Gmail email address there. I mean, make it something a little bit more professional and use a proper domain there. I mean, make yourself look a little bit more professional. So that to me is a teller as well of whether or not that particular vendor is serious about what they're doing. Now, I've seen some serious vendors out there using Gmail accounts as their support email address. They are, again, I think that they are doing something slightly wrong there, but they are reliable. Anyway, it's one more, I'd say one more flag that you can list out. The flag number 1, the dates. Flag number 2, they are still talking about .NET Nuke. Flag number 3, they are using a Gmail account to do their support. Their email address is a Gmail account. Again, that does not look good professionally speaking, Yeah. Anyway, that's my rant. Anything else, guys, on that side? Cricket's okay. Good. Let's move on. Okay, so, Old Turtle, you better show up, buddy, because otherwise you're going to rip your code apart, you're going to re-engineer your DLLs, and you're going to release that for the public, and I don't care, because you just appeared on us. That's it.
Well, give him some credit. At least he had stuff in the DLL that's easy to edit.
I guess so.
That's a happy accident is what we would call that.
I guess so. And again, we never know. Something may have happened to him, and we don't have any way to all that. By the way, Scott, I'm just telling you, if something happens to me, I'm gonna give the keys of the kingdom to you. Okay, so be aware of that.
You'll have
make it easy on me. That's the point. Don't just because what I can imagine is I don't know. I think it's pretty easy to just say put your stuff on GitHub, and it's pretty easy on GitHub, right? Because you could have a private GitHub account. It's pretty easy to switch it from private to public. So it would be a burden, I think, if say Mandeeps or somebody big like that, it was a lot of modules, turned it over to me, and I'm like, oh, what do I do now? But it'd be fairly easy if they had like you said, I like that idea of this business will, where it's just just have some instructions laying around, and you can tell your wife or your brother, hey, if anything happens, send these instructions to somebody, and the instructions are simple. Here's my GitHub login. Log into it and make all my stuff public. Done. Or like you said, even more instructions on here's how you can go about selling it if that's what it came down to. But if it's nothing that the intellectual property you don't feel like has a lot of value, or your family may not need it, then it's as simple as just instructions with your GitHub account. turn stuff public, and maybe even create a alternate licensing module that can be easily swapped out so that you can swap out the licensing module where it doesn't, it changes the license to MIT and it's all public. It's not that hard to do.
And while you're at it, leave instructions how to turn off your Twitter account, how to turn off your Facebook account. And I mean, seriously, a good friend of mine, an older gentleman, he was in his 90s, passed away a couple of years ago, and I still get reminders every year from Facebook to wish him a happy birthday. He probably doesn't care, but
I know, I see. Yeah, I guess that this kind of
these things do happen. I actually have way back in my past an episode of working with a small software company. They were a vendor, and they were basically a two-person operation. One guy was the Steve Jobs, and one guy was the Wozniak. Well, it was Wozniak that wrapped his Corvette around the telephone pole. The product also died, with his passing. I mean, and I don't think, they were young, late 20s. They didn't have any plans of passing away in the near future, and so that company died, as well as the very nice young fellow that was involved in the traffic accident. So if you're in business and you're in business seriously, there are sometimes these imponderables that you're going to have to deal with.
Yeah, and again, just I guess to finalize the point is that becomes even a bigger issue when you are a sole operator, when you mostly you are working by yourself or just with contractors that don't have a big, a good understanding of your business, so that's even more aggravating in those scenarios, But yeah, anyway, that's about it. 20 minutes of that, but anyway, we can live with that. Let's uplift the spirits now. Okay, future here. Future. Joe is part of the DNN Con committee. I know certain things from the grapevine. I know I shouldn't talk much about that, but I'll leave it up to Joe to very delicately see what he can and cannot tell at this point. I know it's happening. I know it will happen, but I just don't know exactly what Joe can share with us right now. So Joe, it's on you.
Thank you. I guess what I can say is there will be a DNN Con next year. We don't have any finalized arrangements, but if you like to make your plans, think late January, think Colorado, and keep your eye on Twitter and Facebook and the DNNCon.com website. As soon as we've actually finalized arrangements, signed a contract, and that sort of thing, we will be making an announcement.
Perfect. So again, at least we have some.
And everybody should show up.
Perfect. At least we have some parameters there. Snow, cold, beginning of the year. That's
no more of this going to Florida and hanging out on the beach.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's good. Anyway, let's leave it at that. So moving on here, just want to quickly mention about the documentation center of dnnsoftware.com/docs. There is this came out of the last MVP meeting. Joe Brickman was just telling that there's one single body, one person fully dedicated to document, everything and anything on the documentation center. So it's a resource that is growing, and I would definitely invite you to check how things are evolving there from administrator point of view, content manager, developers, designers, community managers, and from DNN platform and Evoke as well. So that's a resource that is growing in content and in popularity as well. And finally, we are moving towards a centralized place where we can find documentation about DNN, which was one of the pet peeves of DNN for the longest time. So I'm glad that this is evolving and it's been built more and more.
Yeah, and I don't think Will Morganwick would mind me just mentioning that I've been emailing with him back and forth, and I might be helping to contribute to the developer documentation.
Perfect. He was, and yeah, I don't think that he'll mind that either. He reached out and he asked if there would be a way that we can contribute for module development documentation. I said, you know what? Go talk to Scott. He's the best one to be talking about that. So I guess that's where this is coming from, Scott.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, documentation center. Next one here. Just want to give a quick shout out to my good friend David Poindexter in his NV Quick Sites. New version went out. I've downloaded the version. I've tried. I've installed. I'm using that new version already. Getting great improvements there. If you want to be able to put up quick DNN sites on your local system or on a server, by all means use that, because it's quick. It's like the name says, it's quick. I know how to install a DNN, very quickly, but it takes me at least 5 minutes to 10 minutes if something goes wrong. With that tool, it will take me 2 minutes, a minute, because it's that simple, it's that easy. So I would invite you to go to nvquicksite.com, and the links will be all posted on the comment section of this video. Install it, and you're going to be able to select the version of DNN that you want to install, and do that very, very quickly. So a new version is up, version 1.1.0. Actually, I use this quite a lot every single day. I need to be testing different versions of DNN. So I use it. I just select from the drop down which version I want, and bang, it's done. No need to download manually. It will download that for you, and that's it. Next one here. Okay, Southern Fried DNN had a meeting just this past Thursday. And by the way, today is Saturday, July 23rd. This was quite a nice presentation done by Oliver Hein. Oliver knows a lot about DNN. He contributes a lot of code to the DNN platform, and he came up with a new offering, a new product, a collection of products, I would say, called nBrain. And it's really geared towards performance improvement on DNN, and it has 3 different aspects. One is page caching, the other one is a CDN component, a content delivery network component, and the third one is the web farm component, which is usually just available to Evoke, but with this offering that Oliver has, you can have the advantage of doing web farms on DNN by using this service as well. Now, they are not open services. They have a price tag, and I will just show quickly how much does each one cost. So the Output Cache provider is a $75 per year. From a performance point of view, this is a no-brainer. I'll be testing this quite a lot. Again, for $75 a year to get an improvement in terms of performance, that's nothing. If you are serious about your DNN website, this is nothing. Now, there is a CDN option as well that costs $25 a month. And there is the web farm option, which each node in the web farm will cost $500 a year. So again, you have to measure what does your DNN website needs to be up 100% of the time. I mean, it needs, you need to to have that kind of redundancy, that kind of security in terms of that kind of guarantee of uptime. If you need, there's an option there as well. So you should definitely check it out. Check out there the presentation as well that was done for the Southern Fried DNN user group, and where Oliver went through this whole thing on details. And on top of that, there's also an open source project that is something that Oliver has been carrying on for a while now, which is called the Administration and Brain Administration Suite, which is compromised by a new control panel that is a more streamlined control panel. Instead of having the standard DNN control panel up there, it's a bit more streamlined. So you can definitely check it out. It's an open source, it's free, you can download it for free. It integrates well with the NBrain products, output caching, CDN services, and web farm. It integrates well with all three of those components, of those elements. That's my spiel about the Southern Fried.
I still have the business card that Oliver gave me at the DNN Connect. So yeah, NBrain is his company. What's interesting about these components, and he did a talk at the DNN Con in Baltimore just this past spring, and he was showing off the open source admin control panel was fairly new. He was trying to solicit some more help on that, to work on that. But what's interesting is those components are kind of an alternative to the Evoke, because if you look at who buys Evoke, sometimes it's for the support, but other times it's just because that's the only version that has the output caching provider and the web farm caching provider. So it's an alternative to using the open source platform with his modules, and you have kind of those performance and scalability features that you would otherwise have to purchase Evoke for.
Got it. Yep. Yeah, I remember that he had a presentation there. Good segue there, Scott. Great.
Oliver also has a cute little module on his personal site that builds a more granular permission structure into DNN. It actually doesn't build it in. It's a UI that allows you to use it, because the internals of the permission structure are not changed, but you're able to assign permissions to pages and modules in a much more granular fashion. I think all of this kind of falls into the heading of whenever Evoke produces a new feature that everybody wishes were in the community product, you call Oliver and you ask him, can he do something about that? And he, that the control panel alternative, I think, grew out of that his impatience with getting a new control panel led to him producing better control panels.
Yeah, and there's yet, now that you mentioned that, there's yet another feature of that control panel that is also equivalent to something on the Evoke platform, which is the impersonation. You can quickly select someone that you want to log in as that user, because sometimes you need to troubleshoot something that is happening just for that user or for that group of users, so you can quickly impersonate that user, log into the site as that user, and revert back. So that's something that is available on the DNN Evoke. On Evoke, and some other modules do that. But yes, it's one more feature that he brings to the table that is on Evoke, and now it's available somewhere else. Perfect. Yeah, I think that even the Evoke one, it doesn't have a revert like that available. So yeah, that's something that I could only find on that module from Oliver.
Plus, he's a heck of a nice guy.
Perfect, perfect. That's a great combo. Great. Okay, so I hope that Oliver, I hope that you'll be very successful with your offering here, and a lot of people will pick them up. Okay, moving on here. Community blog has been very quiet. There's just one new post. Guess what? It's a post from Daniel Mettler about 2sex content and something fancy that 2sex content does as well. Let's leave it for now. The last point that I want to mention, and I'm trying to pick up where the monthly DNN Hangouts, I don't think that they are happening, or they are not happening that often anymore. And usually Wilstro was the one doing a bit of a recap of the modules and the new modules and new skins and new releases that have been done through the month. So as long as they are not doing that for the time being, I'll just browse through a few of the releases that I have seen in the last month based on the DNN store newsletter. So I'm just gonna browse through. First one I saw was was the search boost from DNN Sharp. Actually, every client that we have that needs a search module, I usually recommend Search Boost. Very good module if it works well from the get-go. Very good module, and they offer good support. The only thing is that it's a bit tricky sometimes to get it to work right, and you may need to get their support together with that module as well, because sometimes it's hard to get it to work the way you expect it to work. Anyway, it's a great module. Whenever there is a search need, I'll advise you that, but it's a bit tricky to make it work the way it should work. No, I'm talking about the indexing part. The indexing part seems to be something a little bit complicated there, and the troubleshooting of that module is a bit hard to, but in any case, it's a good module. That just came out with a new version. I'm just browsing through here. Power Forms from DNN Go.net. It's a basic forms module. I have used it in the past. It works well. Xblog from DNNGo.net as well. It's a blog module. By the way, wanted to ask to you, Joe, Scott, if you're gonna start today a blog or some sort of a news-oriented, site, which blog module, which news module would you use for that? I mean, would you go for the open DNN blog module? Would you go for one of the paid solutions? Scott, you might be biased there towards PackFlash.
Yeah, a little bit. I guess it just depends on the functionality. I mean, we had one client recently who they wanted to stay as few third-party modules as possible. Probably just because they've heard stories about the MIA type situations or whatever. But in the end, I mean, I couldn't, as far as content sharing between portals and things like that, more higher level features, I couldn't get like DNN article to work the way I wanted, or some of the core ones. So we had to use something like PackFlash. But if you don't need cross-portal content sharing or complex relationships or related content type things, you could, yeah, I mean, Ventrian, I still have it on my website just because it works for what I need, the Ventrian news article, which is essentially free. You just pay for the subscription to the site and to download the product, and then however often you want to update it or get support, you just pay the $30, subscription or whatever.
Got it. And if you don't mind me asking, so PackFlash is still actively working on the PackFlash suite of modules. It's still going strong on that front as well.
Yeah, I mean, we've been kind of in maintenance mode for the most part, just because we're just kind of not sure where DNN is going to go, and so nothing huge has been coming out, but we are still actively supporting it and maintaining it and using it in our projects.
Perfect. I have to say we are working right now on an upgrade from a DNN 6 website to a DNN 8 Evoke, which uses Pack Flash, and it, as far as we've checked, we don't even need to upgrade the Pack Flash suite of modules, because it's still working with on DNN 8. Now we'll be testing more and more, and we may need to upgrade, but apparently we don't even need to upgrade the module, so which is good.
Yeah, part of it's probably because Pack Flash has been around for a little while longer. It's been started in late 5 or 6, I can't remember, before I joined the company for sure. But if you look at the workflow and some of the other features, they're Pack Flash, they're custom. Whereas I would like to move us toward Pack Flash integrating further into DNN, to integrate into the workflow. Now those are new features, so it's a lot of module vendors haven't adopted those because they're pretty new for DNN 7 and 8. To be able to have API to tap into the DNN workflow, other things like that, image processing, all that. A lot of that stuff's been changed recently. But I think the reason Pack Flash works is because a lot of those features that have been integrated into the DNN core, Pack Flash still does its own, so they still work.
Got it. Makes sense. It makes sense. Perfect. Okay, so just again browsing through, I just stopped on the blog because I was talking about the X blog from dnngo.net, which has a new release, and then we have some release from EasyDNN. Go ahead.
I think that EasyDNN News either has a new blog, or EasyDNN, I think they have a new blog module, or that EasyDNN News has been updated with some more blogging features. The last site that I built from scratch with the blog module, I actually used a module called Dig Article. The company is Dig Nuke, and as part of that process, I looked at Mandeep's blog module and Sunblog Nuke, and
yeah, there's a lot of them.
It actually turned out that the Dig Nuke thing had a couple of obscure features that melded quite nicely with some requirements that the client had, and there was no blog module that had everything. So we paid Dig Nuke to add these features to that module. I've been working more recently on another site that was built by a large, well-known DNN company, and there's a blog on that thing, and when I dug into it, it's Ventrian news articles. I mean, that is a module that, in spite of maybe not having quite kept up with the times, has got some very long legs. I was, actually the client said they wanted to get rid of the blog. What would I recommend using? I said, well, you could start with Ventrian news articles. And they said, oh, that's where we are. We want something else. I don't know why they want something else, but because that module works just fine in that site. And to look at the way it has been implemented and with a custom template, you would never know that that's what was hiding behind it. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and to answer your original question, no, I would not go with the DNN blog. I don't think it has escaped its 2003, 2004 origins. I mean, it still looks old in the way it's organized.
But you know that I think Peter has done a rewriting of that entire module. I think that the newer version is an entire departure of that old. It may have some reminiscence of that one, but I think it's a rewrite, you know.
Yeah, that probably speaks more to when was the last time I actually looked at it seriously.
That's fine. That's fine. Just want to finalize by mentioning that one blog module that has an import feature from WordPress. That's the only one that I saw so far, and you guys may correct me on that. But it's some blog, some blog. I think it's called some blog. Just the name of the module. Anyway, it has a nice feature to import and export from WordPress. Just to keep that in mind.
Yeah, with the dig article that I did on this particular site, I was able to export from the old WordPress site and bring all of their old blog entries in. I can't remember exactly how that was done. Perhaps WordPress will dump everything into an XML file. And I do know that I had to then go through and do some manual tweaking of things.
Got it. Okay, perfect. So yeah, so I guess that's as a segue to what Joe had mentioned there. EasyDNN News also has a new release, which might be related to the blog points that Joe was referring to, and then a bunch of themes from EasyDNN Solutions, new versions of themes from DNN Vista, from Just DNN. By the way, Just DNN, you have a Gmail account as your support. Just try to be a bit more professional, just a little bit. I'm gonna call you on that. Don't put a Gmail account there, man.
You could still use Gmail. You could get your own domain name. Even my personal email that my wife and I use, I have my own domain name and it uses Gmail, right? It's $5 a month.
$5 a month. You know what? The emails at DNN Hero, address at dnnhero.com. I use Google Apps. $5 a month. I use
$5 a month.
Except I have the entire, Gmail experience in my hands. No problem about that. And again, we are hosting our email, and I see that Scott is doing the same. We are hosting our email on Google Apps, on Google for Business. That's that simple. If you cannot afford $5 a month for your professional email, you should not be in business. That's it. You should not be in business. Anyway, moving on here.
There went the profit margin.
Yeah, just add another $5 on your module. It's not.
One of these days, I'm going to sit down and total up all of the $5 a month things that I have, that are automatically deducted, so I never look at them.
But here's the thing. I know that there is a fine line there between spending too much with those little, frivolous things and looking professional and having that as part of your, cost of doing business. That's what you have to realize. Actually, this is supposed to be a ramble, not this is supposed to be a solo coders ramble. But so yeah, that's it. You have to be mindful and aware that if you are in business, you have to spend some money to look more professional. I was talking to a friend of mine that didn't want to get a site register because of the cost of the domain and the hosting, $10 a month. I said, come on. I mean, are you serious trying to go in business here?
It's the least of your worries. The domain name and your $5 a month for email. That's the.
Exactly. I mean,
It dawned on me a couple of months ago that my Office 365 account was being paid at the monthly rate. So I converted that to pay it annually and saved myself a whole $20 a year. I'll buy each of you guys a beer the next time I see you.
Okay, good. Okay, so let's get this done. Just browsing through here, more skins updates, DNN Vista. And by the way, I just want to have this is a rant, talk today. I have another quick rant here. I just have a recommendation to whoever creates skins out there. And DNNGo.net, by the way, I love you guys. I love your skins. I really like what you guys do. But it does make sense to have a loading bar by default on your skins. I mean, you don't see that anywhere else. You don't see any sites out there having a loading bar while the page refreshes, you know? So you may want to keep that there, but keep it unchecked. Don't keep that as a default option active, you know? Don't have that loading bar. That's annoying. It's just annoying. I have a lot of clients that buy your skins, dnngo.net, they buy your skins, they like your skins, but that loading bar is just annoying. You don't see that being used out there. Am I wrong? I mean, guys, tell me. I mean, am I crazy or what? Did you get my point?
That I know what you're talking about. That the bootstrap, a lot of the new bootstrap skins with the loading, and where I see that the most common is in our project management system that we use at Blue Bolt. They use that, but it's cool in dashboard type situations. But like you said, not on every page on your skin, your main home page or whatever. Basically, any AJAX operation that happens will invoke this loading thing. It makes sense for dashboard type things. You log in, you have tools, dashboards, like a tooling type website, reporting or things like that. But yeah, not on all your front-facing pages.
Exactly, not on your, on your corporate site, on your business site. I mean, that does not make sense. It's just one more step that we have always to go through, which is deactivate that thing, deactivate that thing, deactivate it. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, here comes my rant. Does every site have to look like the Bootstrap standard? I'm working with a client to revamp their website, and I sent them out to make a list of sites that they liked or themes that they liked, and they all came back. Yeah, each of the people came back with a different vendor. Mm-hmm. But you go to the demo page, you can't tell them apart because every DNN theme these days is Bootstrap, and you have to do some work to make them not look like the standard Bootstrap skin, or at least I don't want to put a website out there that looks like 99% of all the other websites that are out there. And you know what I mean? It's got a parallax pane. It's got 3 panes right at the top, left to right, with cutesy icons and 450 options for how they're animated. But inside, the guts of the thing is nice Bootstrap. You don't have to worry about building a responsive skin. What you do have to worry about is building a responsive skin that doesn't look like every other responsive skin in the world.
I agree to that, Joe, up to a certain point, because here's the thing. What you see on a site is really the content, So whatever is the content that you're gonna put on that site is really what will determine how that site will look like at the end of the day, So I see the point, and I agree with you that they look very much, they have all the same elements, and they differ not too much, but again, the skin, the theme is just one aspect of how the final site will look like. At the end of the day, you or your client or whoever is managing the content of that site and putting that layout together is really the one making the call of how things will look like here. Using the different elements, using the different shortcodes, using the different scripts that are available to a Bootstrap theme. So yes, I'm not sure. I'll be honest on that point. I'm not sure what they can do potentially different to make it as different as you would expect it to be.
No, I absolutely agree. If we were having this conversation 6 years ago, we'd be talking about how when you go to a site, you can tell it's a DNN site because of, remnants of the skin that I think somebody once said reeked DNN. And every major upgrade of DNN came with a new skin that made things look a different ways, and there were options. So, for a while, every new DNN site looked like the Gravity skin, but it was better looking than the 2006. I guess it was Dark Knight that broke away, right? That was the first one that was a modern-ish skin. Thank you, Ralph. And so I was just struck by the fact that everybody who came back with a list of skins that the way they liked, the way they looked, they were all from different DNN vendors. But when you went to the demo site, they were all the same skin. And what distinguished them was how easy it is to change colors. Uh, uh, yeah, so you put the logo somewhere else. You tweak the navigation a little, and like you said, you add the customer's content, and you try and arrange it in a way that it's not arranged like every other site. And you can do that, but it's very difficult looking at all these skins as to how do you know that this one over here is better than that one when they both look the same. I start looking at things like, do they use the DNN menu or the DDR menu, or do they use a custom menu? And some of these people have some nice features in their custom menus, but I'd prefer to work with something that has DDR simply because I can modify it if I need to. And please don't advertise that one of your great features is you have a mega menu. Everybody has a mega menu. So next month, everybody's going to get a paper bag we can breathe into it to calm down at the end of our rants. Is that the deal?
Okay, good. So almost there. So just finalizing here, Mandips. By the way, I really like the skin, and now I can say the skins of Mandips, because they used to have only Portal, but now there's one called Tucson, which looks very nice. Most likely it's bootstrap based, I'm quite sure, but it has a nice control panel. I'm just browsing through it a little bit. It's very slick. So I love the fact that Mandips, they don't publish too many skins. Actually, this is the second one with too many themes. But when they do, I mean, it's really, it seems to be a well done job. And we have been supporting a lot at DeskPaul a lot of websites that are running with Portal, and I'm sure that Tucson, which is a new one from them, will not be that different. That's it.
Yeah, I think last month you mentioned Jeff Barlow's free skins. Those are two very nice skins, and he's built them to be modified. They also look like Bootstrap, but but they're very accessible.
Perfect. Okay, so last one here, DNN Corp. What's going on? I mean, the last rant of the day. DNN Forge is offline for the past few days. Really? Fatal error here. Fatal error has occurred. Is that it? I mean, come on, guys. I mean, see what's going on there, okay? Or at least give a reply to the community there. I mean, I was gonna review some of the new things on the Forge, but I cannot. Fatal error right now. That's it for me.
We do have a new version of DNN that's imminent, correct? I thought there was something that was supposed to be released late July or the first week or so of August.
That seems to be. I didn't see anything else beyond the after the MVP meeting, so I decided not to mention just because I just don't know. But
It's on the roadmap.
it's on the roadmap. Okay, great. Okay, anything else, Scott, Joe? Great, 1 hour mark. This is a big one, guys.
Did we hit it exactly on the hour?
We had exactly. Actually, we should do something special. We should do something that's only people that stick around to the end they know about. You know, I mean, what that could be. You know, I don't know.
So does the 100th ramble come out today?
Actually, I will be recording it after we are done here. It'll be I'll be crying. I'll be having a Snapchat, filter of me crying. But yes, the 100th will be coming out today.
Is your daughter going to come in and dump a bucket of Gatorade on you?
Oh, that would be a good one. No, actually, I'm alone, and they are away at this point. They are enjoying their summer, you know.
It's called a productive Saturday, right?
Yeah, I'm the only one, grinding and with my two buddies here, Joe and Scott. Guys, again, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your summer. We're gonna be talking at the end of August now, which is, summer will be pretty much gone there. So go enjoy, have fun with your families, and enjoy the heat.
Take care.
Bye.